Hello, welcome to another episode of The Extra Real. We've got a nice episode. Start things off, we're looking forward to this holiday season, Thanksgiving, and with Thanksgiving around the corner, we picked out an excellent movie. Do you want to let the audience know what we've picked out?
So we wanted to go a little bit more, like you said, holidays. I was thinking Thanksgiving. I was like, how about let's watch some Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with Steve Martin and John Candy.
Yes, lovely movie, a classic.
I think it's Overmore movie. Oh,
I'm right in front,
yeah,
and
it
I'm
is.
blocking it. For some reason, it's not showing. Anyway, we have
It's weird.
the
Is that just a screenshot?
There we go. Oh yeah.
That was weird.
Welcome to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Man, what a lovely movie. I tell you what, this is a classic. I have to say, watching this recently, I remember watching this like on and off. This is always like one of those, maybe you turn on a television program that plays movies, and this would be on. It never really held my interest when I was younger, I would say.
Yeah.
For me anyway.
Not for me either.
And then now watching it, I get why people watch it during the holidays. It's a perfect like feel good holiday movie. The two characters,
Well, it's
John
kinda
Candy, the
sad.
late John Candy, is an excellent character for this film. And then Steve Martin. I don't know what he did before this film, but this film was a good film for him. Just that feel good kind of, the rich guy kind of
Well,
like,
he did
I'm tired of
he
dealing
did
with.
like Father the Bride and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like he has such a good like recent movie repertoire.
Yeah, I don't know what
So-
the recent ones offhand.
I know a handful of recent ones he's done. Okay, one that is kind of overlooked that I really liked, Bringing Down the House. I don't know if you ever remember
I've
that
never-
one.
I've never
So that
watched
one
it,
was
but-
kind of. It was maybe not for everybody. It kind of played on race relations a lot, but it was Queen Latifah breaks out of jail and fakes like going on a date with him, I guess. It was kind of like one of those weird. It was a weird race. Anyway, going back to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Couple of great actors that played this film. They played it perfectly too. I think it's a good film to go back and watch if you haven't watched it in a while. But to start things off, we're gonna watch the trailer. Hopefully this thing works out. Shoot, I can't tell if it's playing.
Or,
I can't tell if it's playing audio.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a great scene right there. I like their it's probably like this is the middle of the movie where they're kind of interacting with each other a lot. I like that part of the film.
Well, it's weird, it's like, because they just met, so they hardly know each other.
Yeah,
And
which is
by
kind of
the-
bizarre, but they're
By the end of
almost
this
best
film,
friends.
At the end of this film, they're like best friends. I don't know if you
I
can
could tell that Steve Martin's character was
more
just
stuck
an
up.
well, yeah, he was stuck up and he was more annoyed by John Candy's character. Like the whole time he's like, I can't wait to get away from this guy. I can't wait to get away from him. But he just keeps on coming back.
Well, he either couldn't let him completely go away, or John Candy's character, like, somehow, some way, always, like, found his way back to him.
So I don't think that played into the YouTube audio. That sucks. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Probably not.
So back to the film. It's a lovely film. I have to say the little quirks they had in there were kind of fun to watch. My favorite one was just the the cigarette in the back seat, and then they get spin out, whatever. They get almost killed by the trucks.
Well, John
and their
Candy's
shit's everywhere.
character is trying to take his coat off because he's getting so hot because of the cigarette that he threw in the back. 'Cause
Well,
his
no,
coat
that's
got
different.
stuck here.
That's different.
No, that's after that.
Okay, yeah, after the cigarette, but I'm just talking about specifically when the car burns down.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
that starts it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he threw the cigarette and then, but he locked his arms. That's why he spins out in the first place.
Yeah, and that's how they get down the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
So I'm just going off.
You're going the wrong way. What?
The
You're
audio.
going the wrong way.
Yeah, that was good. I like that.
How
Part.
the hell did they know where we're going?
That was probably my favorite part of the movie. I don't know. It's just kind of quirky.
I don't get how they didn't realize they were going on the wrong side though, because these cars are on the other side of the road.
It doesn't. You have to play dumb because I don't know. Like if they were to figure it out, then there's no scene in the film.
That's
you know what
true.
I mean? They got to play dumb and play it like that. But yeah, a bit of a
Steve
stretch.
Martin,
Bit of a stretch. He's supposed to be
Steve Martin's. Seems like to be at least the smarter of the two.
Yeah,
I feel like.
but he may be groggy because he was sleeping
That's
a
true.
lot of the time. So he's just like, "What? What are you saying? I don't know what you're saying." You know. It's
Yeah, he
very
did just
interesting.
wake up from his nap.
One thing. One second. Yeah, one thing I want to make note of is some of the other scenes that stood out to me. It has planes, trains, and automobiles, and everything goes wrong, and they have to make it like that, but I like every bit of everything that went wrong. They did a good job of making drama in this film.
Well, you think he's gonna get Steve Martin's character at the beginning, you're like, he's trying to make that 6 o'clock plane to go to home, and then you're like, is he gonna make it? Is he gonna make it?
Yeah.
And he gets at the airport exactly 6 o'clock, and he's like, oh, he made it, and then delayed.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit.
I think this movie's funny in my opinion, and it probably why everybody watches it during the holidays is it kind of mimics the hustle and bustle of holiday travel.
Yeah.
Like, fortunately we don't really have to travel very far, but people that live in big cities and want to get to where their family's at throughout the country, maybe this does happen more often. It's that time of year. Hell, 6 feet of snow fell in Buffalo. If you're in that place, I mean, chances are you're not getting anywhere for the holidays.
Did you really figure out where Steve Martin worked at? Like what state? I don't remember if
I know his end location was Chicago, but I don't recall.
But it's like,
where it
why wouldn't he
started.
work in Chicago?
Yeah.
You would think
but
there'd be big marketing
he works
places.
in a marketing, maybe he got a better deal, better pay, whatever, working wherever he's
But
at
it's
now.
still traveling all the way there and then all the way back.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, he plays that well-to-do, first-class businessman. He just has that, and I like how they put that in the film because he kind of humbles himself at the end to like, oh, John Candy. I know this guy. The feel-good nature of it is you let somebody in for your, maybe somebody less fortunate than you, to partake in some tradition.
Yeah, but I mean, he had to figure that out too.
Yeah. And
But why was John Candy's character, on his own in the first place? Where was he planning on going?
I mean, turns out he's homeless. It kind of makes you don't want to get too far into it.
They really didn't say he was homeless. He just wasn't.
He doesn't have a place to go.
Well, his wife died. Spoilers again. So it made it sound like he just didn't have a home to go to with his wife.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got.
I'm just saying, like, why did he steal Steve Martin's cab? They're going to the same place. They're going to Chicago. They're trying to get on the same flight.
Well, he didn't know him at the time, though.
Yeah, but why is he going to Chicago? Like, he's got somewhere to go. Why is he going to Chicago?
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, it kind of ties into, like, you don't want to ask too many questions on this kind of feel-good movie, but there's a lot of, like, alright, is this guy just some kind of scammer to begin with? He's just trying to pull all these tricks.
Well, technically, he is kind of a scammer because all he does is sell train shower rings, and then he goes around and like, oh, these are earrings.
Yeah, these are beautiful.
This was priest. I don't remember the priest's name. But he's like, here's the priest's earring, and it's like, how do you even think those are earrings?
Yeah.
I can understand like the little kids, like those teenagers.
Yeah.
Maybe getting them to think they were earrings, but the adults,
I think that, do people like watching people get scammed? Like, yeah, these two main characters, they're just selling curtain rings as earrings. I guess nobody's gonna like call them out on it. Oh yeah, you look like you're pretty hard off, man. I'm gonna buy a freaking curtain ring from you.
well, and then Steve Martin's character, like gets after John Candy's character because somehow he ends up with his credit card. But it was because of the manager, and he's like, "Oh, you stole it! You stole it!" And it's like, "No, you picked up the wrong card, dude."
Oh, and I thought it was weird them staying at that shady motel, and maybe this is why people are so paranoid at hotels. You know, you stay at some sketchy hotel, and this guy like breaks in with a knife. Like,
how the hell
how
does a knife anyway?
Yeah, I don't know. How does that happen? Maybe it does happen. I'm just naive to it, you know. But like, that seems like a bit of a stretch. Go in, steal a bunch of money, leave the wallet, and just walk away. Like
I can see like using a pick lock, but there's no way you're using a knife to unlock.
I mean, I think those old school locks you can, because all they are is, it's a catch, and you turn it so you can open it. So if you get and slide that latch over, you should be able to open it without.
But you still have to have something long enough to go all the way into the door.
Yeah, and that's the knife.
The knife only went. If you look, the knife only went like the point of it.
Well, they do a little Hollywood in there, but I think ideally, you get that knife or card or whatever it is, you hit that latch, and it'll open it up so where you can open the door.
Well, the card makes more sense because you can get in the slot of where the
Yeah, but if your knife's thin enough, you should be able to get that.
But they're using that on the lock. If you watch, he's using that knife on the lock though.
Is he on the lock? Oh, okay, maybe. I'm
pretty sure.
Maybe so. I mean, we could probably pull it up again, but you're probably right. I think I do remember that. Yeah. But I think it showed him like struggling with that. But ideally, if you're gonna do it, you just sit there. And...
I know he was struggling a little bit, but if you're using a pick lock system,
maybe
a knife would take a long
back in
time.
1986 they didn't make very robust doors, locks. And that's why they have the latches and the deadbolts and all the other different things in hotel rooms anymore. I mean, times change.
Now you got even cardless.
I did like all the retro stuff in the film. 1987, you were just born. I was
one.
Not quite born. Like, one thing that stood out to me was Doritos. Doritos had some weird packaging back then, and now it's kind of like hip, I guess you could say. But looking at some of the brands and stuff, I'm like, well, yeah, I do recall that, but things have changed now. I mean, branding is I don't know. It's weird to me.
I've seen that design though of Doritos.
Yeah,
but not that kind of bag. I don't think.
Yeah, and just all the other, just the items in the hotel room is just kind of cool to me. John Candy always has a cigarette. That used to be a big back in the day. Just people smoking all willy nilly. Now it's not around anymore. You don't smoke in public as much anymore. It's kind of more taboo to smoke than it is not to smoke.
Well, they're trying to get people to be more healthier.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the signs ever said that it was a smoke-free... I don't think they had smoke-free rooms back then or not.
I imagine so. I mean, I don't know. 1987. It's hard to say. I wasn't really coherent back then. I
wasn't even born yet. I wouldn't think so, but I know nowadays they have. I think there's some motel rooms that have just smoking rooms and just non-smoking rooms.
I don't think you can smoke in any hotels anymore nowadays. I think everything's pretty much non-smoking.
For the most part, but there is some states you still can. Because even the casino out in Larchwood, their ventilation system's so well that you can still smoke.
Well, I know you can smoke on the gambling floor, but I don't think you can. Can you smoke in the hotel rooms?
I don't remember.
I just don't think so. I wouldn't think so.
I don't think so anymore.
He's trying to get back to Thanksgiving dinner, so I don't know. This movie made me feel good. I wanted to get more into some of the 1987 budget.
Well, the funny thing is, during that movie, like it seemed like it was always Thanksgiving, like the next day.
The next day.
It just felt.
Thanksgiving was on Thursday, and I kind of got that vibe too. Like, wow, this is going on forever. But I think he was just getting back. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday he's got to be back. But it went. They slept. Okay, now it's Tuesday. Now it's Wednesday. All right, finally it's Thursday. They made it.
And really, I mean, I don't know.
I think the timeline worked out. I was kind of questioning that too when I was
I guess I
watching it,
didn't
but I was
know
like,
either one.
is that really what's happening? You know, they go to
Well,
sleep
because
a
I
couple
know
different
he
times.
tried to leave wherever. I think it was. I don't think it was New York. I would think it would be California or something. But he tries to go to the airport at 6, doesn't make it, so he's gotta wait. I don't think wasn't their plane at like 10 o'clock or no? That's what he said he'd be there by. I think he had to wait until like 7 o'clock to get on the plane, and then the plane goes to Kansas, Wichita, Kansas.
Yep.
They make it there, so it's still that Monday or whatever. They have to stay in Wichita, so that's one day. From Wichita to St. Louis, don't they stay in St. Louis?
I don't.
Because I wouldn't
so.
feel.
Why would
yeah,
you go to
Wichita's at St. Louis and then stay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that'd be a short drive.
Yeah, I think they did though. But
Stay in
they're
St.
sitting there
Louis.
trying. There was just a bunch of different methods that they tried to get to going home.
Get out of there, yeah. Because they were, because they tried to. Because after the plane, John Candy's character's like, well, what about a train? And then that's when they try to get on the train. And then Steve Martin's like, everything's looking up now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then fucking the train, like.
Breaks down. Yeah.
Some
Everything's
of
got to
those-
break down. Like, there's one gripe. Like, yeah, it couldn't come up with anything more unique to anything like, oh,
I
just
mean,
a car breakdown. Oh, you know.
The car never really
like
technically broke down. The car
started
got
on fire or whatever.
started on fire, but it was still drivable.
Yeah,
The
they're
police,
still driving it.
but the police didn't allow them to. It wasn't drivable anymore
Yeah.
to them.
So I mean, that was just like one thing after another.
So technically, the car was still drivable, but it wasn't roadworthy. as
If I
the
had
cops
some
said.
critique to that, I would try to plan that out a little better. Like I don't know. They tried to hit all the bases: planes, trains, and automobiles. So you gotta start off with the plane that delayed. Yeah, plane failed. Trains. Oh well, train broke down, failed. And automobiles. Oh, start off fire. Got done. Bomb. I guess we got to be a hitchhiker to finish off the last leg.
Yeah, I feel like the train shouldn't have broke down like that. Like I can see like the rail coming off before a train breaking down.
So apparently this had a $15 million budget
Jeez.
and $15 million as of 1987 too.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And apparently grossed like, I say like, worldwide gross 50 million. So overall, good movie as far as like budgets are concerned. I don't know the inner workings of like what it takes to be like a, you know, budget worthy film. You know, there's probably a lot
I
of
don't
shit
think
that
there's a lot of.
we don't know about on the back side of things.
I feel like they didn't have to spend a whole lot of money though.
Well, I'm just saying in general, like, are they sitting well off after this movie? I like to think so. And maybe
I don't think
a lot of these guys aren't in it
15 to 50. That's that's only not really that much more.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, I don't know.
Double it, 30 million. You triple it, you're at 45 million. So it's more than triple.
Squad, yeah, almost squad. But John Candy and Steve Martin, I don't know how far they are in their careers.
Well, Steve Martin went on forever. Obviously, John Candy's passed away. But such a likable character. Like John Candy, I've watched a couple of others of his films. It's hard not to like John Candy. He's just a likable character. I think that was a good
I don't
cast
think he's
for
had
this.
any really bad characters.
No, I mean this one he's
For the
kind
most
of a raunchy, kind of annoying character in a way.
I
but
mean, that's
you
kind of
kinda
the characters he plays, though.
Yeah,
Like Uncle Buck, he's kind of that raunchy character, but then, he's a good guy.
yeah.
Just like
yeah.
this one, he's a good guy.
Yeah, and this one definitely stirs up drama with just the
Steve
antics that he
Martin.
has. You know, it was typical. You get roomed with somebody, and everything that they do annoys you.
Just
It's like,
annoying.
yeah, you got, your shit's everywhere. You're making a lot of noise. Why can't you just, knock it off?
Well, yeah, the funny part was is Steve Martin's ready for bed, and he's like, I'm Bush, I'm going to go to bed. And then John Candy's character's like, oh, yeah, I'm Bush, too. And so then Steve Martin's character just goes to sleep, and then John Candy's character just doesn't go to bed. starts reading out of I think it was a book or something.
Yeah, gets a lighter
And
and starts
Lightyear's
reading
like,
out of it.
I
Yeah.
thought you said you were tired.
Yeah.
Why the hell are you reading out of a book with under a lighter?
Del Griffith is his character.
Yeah,
name.
Dale Griffith. Yeah.
And Neil Page is
Neil
Steve
Page,
Martin's character. Yeah, I mean, I would love to come up with some ideas on filming like a remake of this. I think it'd be fun. Like a modern day remake. There are some things like this could only apply to like the antics of 1987.
Well, yeah, because now you gotta think they have cell phones, so it'd be easier to get.
Cell phones easier to communicate.
But you
maybe
could
got
still
an app or
somehow
something.
kill your battery.
Yeah, your battery's dead. You know, you're trying
some-
to
yeah.
get around. You don't have any money. Somebody steals your money. Like you could have the
Well,
same.
one nowadays hardly anybody carries cash anymore.
Yeah, you have to lose your cards.
So
or
you
something.
just have to lose a card,
Yeah.
or your phone has your
You can
cards
pay with
on
your,
it.
yeah, you can pay with your phone too.
But if your phone dies, then you can't use that either.
I mean, you could play the Uber game on like a remake too. Like, yeah, I called for an Uber and oh shit, no, it's some
Didn't show up, or
yeah, something like that.
or John Candy gets
Not
in
many
the wrong
people
car.
do trains now. I don't know if that was kind of a silly take. I think on the film even.
I think they still do carrier trains,
passenger-
but I want to say it's more like
passenger trains here in
Europe.
and here's my
Europe.
thing on that. Passenger trains in the United States aren't like, on the hour every hour. It's like you may get on one train this day to get up to your destination. Like it's probably on a day basis, not like
Like a
an
booking.
hour basis.
It could have been back then, though.
Maybe. I mean,
Maybe.
you get
Yeah,
more
I
of
don't know
like
either.
high traffic areas, bigger cities. You have the subway
Like
system
subways,
where you're gonna
yeah.
have like round the clock trains. But if you're trying to do like a long travel, usually that's like
You have
once
to plan
every
it out.
other day or
Yeah,
something.
you
You
gotta
know,
plan
it's
it
not
out.
an everyday thing. So if that fails, then you're just kind of like, oh shit.
But maybe back then they had more passengers, whereas now, since they have Uber, because they've been talking about getting rid of the trains just for carrying carts and stuff. Because
Yeah.
trucks nowadays they can carry up to 3 frickin' trailers now. So they're trains might be on the way.
So
out
you're
east.
saying there's like instead of a train, you would just do like
Just
a
trucks.
trailer with a passenger cart on it or something.
No, like trucks. Like trucks, have they have only one trailer. There's some trucks that can carry 3 trailers now.
Oh, you're saying just to carry stuff though, right?
Yeah.
Not
yeah,
like
yeah.
people.
No, that's.
I was gonna
like
say they got buses for that.
No, I'm just talking
So we
about.
got a new way system. We got these trucks that haul 3
People.
passenger carts, right?
I mean,
Anyway, we got a new idea going.
Yeah.
there.
that's the trademark.
Don't let it get out.
I mean, they got the bus that looks like a trolley, so I mean,
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
get a truck that looks like a train. That would be kind of cool during Christmas, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have some sort of train.
Do like some kind of trolley or something. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Like grab my papers.
For everybody that out there, we're only doing 1 movie this time. We felt like 3 movies was a little too much.
Yeah, actually, where I set them back from last time, I didn't move them. Sorry.
No, you're not. That's okay.
Okay, so after watching Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I'll let you go first and give your assessment.
Oh, you suck.
And then I can base my assessment. I already kind of know where I put this film.
Um,
Unless you want me to go first. I can go first.
I kind of want to see where you're reading.
Okay, so my assessment of this film, it's just one of those fun films. Like, it's not my top film. I can't watch it every day. The replayability, I think, is there. I think I thought it was really enjoyable.
Holidays.
Yeah, holiday. It's a holiday film. It's like you want,
but that's what I'm saying.
just like, it's the 22nd today. It's almost Thanksgiving. Thursday's Thanksgiving. Like this time period, even on Thanksgiving Day, I think it'd be a fun film to watch if you had family willing to watch it. I really enjoyed it just watching it by myself the time that I had. So overall, I'd say good film. Enjoyability there for me, it was enjoyable. With that, I do have some critiques. I'm not going to watch it every single day. It's not one of those that I'm just going to cultly just watch over and over again and
I can see
get anything
myself
out of it.
watching over and over. part.
I think it changes some of the culture. It kind of showcases American culture in a way that I kind of enjoy in a way. Maybe there's a little bit of you know, some takeaways from it. Greed, instances of drama I thought were really good. I think at the end of the day, it shows that you can definitely, even if somebody annoys you, you can still get along with them and do good in this world.
Or try it well, or just be nice in general.
Yeah, be nicer in general. You know, there's other
Steve
people
Martin's character is even like at one point
like that
I'm
is
gonna leave you here.
yeah, exactly. And that was kind of that feel good part when he goes back to that train station and John Candy's character is just sitting there, and the sad part comes on and your tears are probably flowing like, oh man, he doesn't have a place to go. His wife died 8 years ago. He doesn't have a place to go. Come on, Steve Martin. Get him with your family. Have a Thanksgiving meal with them.
You don't know that at the time though, and you're when Steve Martin's having those flashbacks, and he starts talking about his wife not being at home for a long time. You're like, where's he getting at? Like, how did he even? I get him like remembering the time he had with John Candy's character, but what made him think of those certain parts?
Yeah,
you know, like about his wife, about him not being. I can understand that being at home part.
Yeah, and I think it was just like you've developed a relationship with this guy. You've been in the shit with him for the past 2 days. It's almost like, man.
Even John Candy's character made it sound like his wife was still alive, because in the beginning when they first get that first room.
Yeah, and there's definitely some.
He has a picture of his wife, and then he was talking about her like she was still alive even.
Yeah.
To a point. Maybe, so that's why I never.
I mean, if you rewatch it, maybe you come across and he words it in a way where he doesn't say that she's not alive. You know, it's just that he's talking about her.
At the beginning, he made it sound like she was alive.
Long story short, my assessment of this film, I'm going to give it a 4.3. I think that fits it. I think that's still pretty high. And I liked other films better, but this is still a really enjoyable film.
That's like Ghostbusters to you.
Yeah. Almost. I'd almost just say, yeah, it doesn't have any of the fun movie qualities to it. It's your typical holiday film. There's not much for CGI or anything. No. It's all just showcased right there for you. It's fun.
The one part I remember is when they're in my car and they do hit the two trucks in the middle, you know?
Yeah.
And then they're like
I do remember that part. that reminded me of Home Alone where Marv gets shot and he turns into a skeleton. And that was I remember watching that. I thought that was so silly. They like turned into skeletons like
Well, I don't know if I really remember that.
And then John Candy's character for briefly turns into the devil. I thought that was like. Oh man.
Well, here, you know, he thought he was like a curse, you know, and so he's like, well, maybe he's the devil.
Yeah.
So he's John Candy in that devil costume.
Fun. What do you think?
I almost want to go lower. Like you said, okay. I mean, I get what you're saying. It's more of a holiday movie, but even then, like, am I really gonna watch this during things? I mean, I was the one that brought it up because like we're getting closer to Thanksgiving. This is a Thanksgiving movie, so let's talk about it. But I mean, other than that, like, am I actually watch? Like you said, am I ever watch this movie not
outside the holiday season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, I mean, it's an enjoyable movie. You got Steve Martin, you got John Candy. I do like their characters, but it's not like I'm gonna go out of my way to watch this movie over and over and over.
Yeah, I got that assessment too. I can agree. I just think it has a certain charm to it. The movie definitely has a certain charm to it, and for me, I don't think I ever watched the whole movie all the way through, and now watching it all the way through, it kind of came together like, wow, I can see why people.
Well, even when you're younger, you don't really get the concept either, you know, like we do now. Like, even when he was alone for the holidays, as a kid, you still don't really understand.
You reach a level of maturity where you kind of appreciate the little things in life.
Yeah. So I mean, I get it now. You know, not having parents around or
Yeah.
certain grandparents around, or
Yep.
same concept.
Yeah. So you didn't enjoy it. Okay, what do you give it?
I don't know. It's still kind of hard because it's good, but it's not.
I'm going to give you some of your other ratings to kind of.
Yeah, maybe.
Men in Black 4.8, GoldenEye 3.8, Halloween 2007 4.3, The Mask a 4.8, Crank a 4, Superbad 3.5, War Dogs 3.2.
I would think this is. I'm gonna go lower than even Superbad. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I might give like a 3.4.
3.4. Wow. I did not expect that. Like I don't know. I enjoyed this movie a little bit more than you, I guess. That is bizarre. The thing is, we've stuck pretty close to each other on most of the films. I haven't had much of disagreements on something you enjoy, something you don't enjoy.
Well, I like Ghostbusters more, and I get that.
Yeah. Well, even so, I mean, Ghostbusters, Answer the Call, we were right neck and neck, like as far as enjoyability.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Well, that only leaves one more thing to do. We're about 25 minutes into this.
Rotten Tomatoes?
Rotten Tomatoes. So with our assessment, we're going to just compare it to see what critics and the world think of this film.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. There's a movie we could do.
Oh, man, you're kidding me. Yeah, let's do it.
Next time.
Yeah, that's definitely one for the future. Look at that, man. I would say the world loved this movie. What I'm seeing off the tomato meter on this movie, a 92% from the tomato meter, 87% audience score. So
I get it.
I'm a little bit higher than both those ratings. You're a little bit lower than those ratings.
Well, and this is probably that time period, like this could actually happen. Like, you're going on a trip, stuff happens, like this is more realistic.
Yeah. I think that's why I liked it. I think I liked it because it was just anything that happened that could go wrong just went wrong, and they did their thing to try and
the only thing I could
keep going.
I'm a skeptic about is the train thing. Like, I don't think a train would just break down like that.
Yeah, you don't really know.
The track I can see more getting out of place than just the engine going bad. Like,
yeah. You don't hear about it very much, but you also don't have a million cars on the road either, or a million trains on the road, I should say. So you're gonna hear more about engine failures and traffic accidents. You don't hear much on trains just because I don't think it's more of a common.
Accidents.
You hear about it. I mean, the derailment that happened, I think it was out west.
That's what I'm saying.
I think a couple years ago, maybe.
But it wasn't. Maybe that's why they don't do passenger trains anymore.
Well, they still do.
But I mean, not as much, just because of that.
Maybe.
Because anything that gets on the track.
Well, here's the thing. Air travel, as hard as it may be to tolerate, it's quicker to get places. So I think people would choose that over a train, where you're talking about train traveling from, let's say, East Coast to West Coast in the United States. That may take upwards of days. Whereas a flight, you're talking hours.
Maybe a day.
Yeah, so I mean, people would want to choose that convenience.
You can still take it. It depends where you're flying.
And the cost, I don't think, from what I recall, and doing some traveling myself, like the little extra it costs to fly in a plane, you're saving so much more time as opposed to going on a train. I think train is more for like, you're in it for the adventure.
You're in it for the scenery.
Yeah. And same thing with, I kind of fell into the trap of like a Greyhound bus too. So Greyhound, they're not that cheap. I always thought like Greyhound was like, oh, it's dirt cheap. You can get from here to there for basically next to nothing because it takes you so much longer to get places, but that's really not the case. Like, yes, you're probably talking
$200.
I don't know. I'd have to pull up some numbers, but I'm guessing twice to three times the cost for air travel as opposed to bus travel. Same distance, same location, but it really depends on where you're at and where you're going to. Like that's just me anecdotally thinking about what
Yeah,
I've
I
done
never
in the
had to
past.
ride a bus.
I've had one bad experience, and I tell you what, I probably will never want to ride a bus ever again. Um, my
You
one,
don't see him, see
I,
Martin's character.
I want to tell my one story that I have um, about my bad bus experience, and it was just my poor planning that's what it came down to. I just got out of the military, and coming over from Germany, my car was getting shipped over, and one of the places that they shipped that was closest to where we live right now was St. Louis. So
That was the closest.
yeah, St. Louis was the closest. I mean, you're talking like, traveling a car, getting a car shipped
Well,
from
I know.
overseas. So they're not gonna ship it to your front door. So
You
you need to
should
go to this
get
this
closer
pickup
to-
place.
The state.
Yeah, and I'm not even entirely sure how they travel. Like, do they?
How they
I
get out
think what happens is they basically
Boated over.
cargo and boat. Yeah, cargo it boat on a boat on another
Train.
transport or some shit.
Or something. Train or.
Maybe a train, maybe a transport. So you're talking like you get everything at
Right.
like, okay, we're gonna bring it to this location. You got to pick it up. Well, I felt like I was getting out of the military. My funding wasn't as high because I just basically, all right, I'm done with the military. So I'm looking for a job.
Being cheap.
I'm trying to be cheap. So what do? I'm like, I'm not gonna fly. I'm gonna take a bus.
Because
And
your thing was it'd be cheaper.
I thought it was gonna be cheaper, and it probably was cheaper than a plane, but
The time it took.
the time it took was
Just
miserable. Let me tell you. So my first leg was from here to Omaha. Wasn't that long. You're talking a couple hours.
So that wasn't so bad.
But I didn't really plan out how bad the train station, not the train, the bus station was in Omaha. Like it's kind of dangerous in the train stations. Like those transit areas, they're fairly dangerous. You're talking other people that are traveling from point A to point B. Everybody else that's looking to travel pretty cheap. I hate to say it, but they're fairly sketchy, if I can put it that way. I'm gonna put it mildly. People can be sketchy. So I get there and I ask around. I was like, "Hey, is there any close places I could stay over the night so I can, wake up the next morning and get on a train again?" So right then and there was my key of like, "Wow, this is going to be pretty expensive. I probably shouldn't have done this. I'm gonna have to pay for a hotel and then, get on the train again tomorrow."
Bus, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, the bus.
It was
But
a train.
I didn't
Buses
I didn't
also.
have any hotel reserved, and it was a sketchy part of town, and it was like 11.
Sounds like
It-
John
it was-
Candy's hotel at the beginning.
exactly. So I'm like, it's 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. I stayed in that train station. It was locked from the outside, but once you went out, you couldn't get back in. So I literally was just like, there was, I think, three other people at the bus station, and I wasn't really sketched out, but I talked to some of the people around there. I was like, "Hey, what's it like? Is there any place I can stay around here? Is this, And at the end, I submitted. I was like, "I'm staying here." All I had was my backpack. I had a lunchbox, and that was it. I had a little lunchbox packed, and my backpack with just like a handful of clothes and toiletries and whatnot. So, the I keep on saying train station. The bus stop.
station.
The bench seating there, it's designed so you cannot sleep there. So I'm just thinking to myself, what the hell did I get myself into? I really screwed up. I get into a finally comfortable position. I take my backpack, and I think I basically had my legs over one rung of where they have them individually sit. So I had my legs over one rung, and then I had my backpack kind of
As a pillow.
as kind of like a pillow to kind of just like eventually I went to sleep. So I'm kind of sleeping on my stuff, so I don't really feel sketched out like somebody's going to steal my stuff. Well, I actually slept all right. It wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. But I wake up in time. I had an alarm set. My alarm set right before the bus takes off, and by golly, I get up and go. And off on the bus we go to St. Louis. And it sucks, man, because I tell you what, it was kind of a pain in the ass because these buses, these Greyhound buses, they have to stop every now and again, and that just adds more time to your trip. It was just like I honestly I had all the time in the world. I had nowhere to be, nothing to really do. I wasn't really planning on much, so I was in it for the adventure, really. And let me tell you, it was an adventure. We made a couple stops. I remember this one bus stop we stopped at was like right across from a Walmart. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go grab something to eat. So I remember going and getting something to eat and coming back to the bus stop. And I'm sitting around waiting even longer to get on the bus again. It was just like, oh man, can we just get going? Just get to where I need to be. I get kind of impatient, but still, I don't know. It was kind of a fun adventure. But to even finally get into St. Louis, and it was downtown St. Louis is where they drop you off at. Not a bad thing, but I don't know much about St. Louis. I actually I turned it into adventure. I was like, I'm gonna go look at the arch.
Places down
The arch is the big thing, and they kind of put you close to the.
The gateway of St. Louis or something.
Yeah, the gateway to the west. Yeah. The arch is kind of a famous little arch they have there in St. Louis. And they put you next to. It's a little bit of a walk, but you walk past the baseball stadium too, which I thought was kind of cool. And I think at that time, there was a baseball game. It was either just finishing or just starting. There was a lot of traffic around there, so I'm kind of like, walking my way to the arch. Typical big city stuff. I was getting kind of panhandled a lot, and before you know it, I looked at the arch. You know, I didn't do much. I didn't do much tourism. I wish I would have had more ambition to do more there while I was there. But I was just kind of by myself, and I wanted to get to my car. So I got there probably around, I don't know, noonish maybe. I don't really recall exactly what time of day I got there. It felt like more. It felt like more in the afternoon. But anyway, the airport is where I was trying to get to. So I'm sitting here like kind of typical planes, trains, and automobiles. Like, what mode of transportation am I going to use to get up there? Like, this kind of sucks. So I was like, all right, they got a subway system. I get on the subway, and I just remember getting panhandled a lot too. That was kind of frustrating too. I was just like, man, I'm just sorry guys. I mean, I'm trying to get to where I need to get to. Just please leave me alone. Change? Can I get some change, please? But I ended up taking the trolley. You know, it wasn't that long, maybe 15, 20 minutes or so, out to the airport. And to even preface this a little bit more, Ferguson, Missouri. Do you remember what happened?
No, I don't.
So there was like an altercation with a young African American getting murdered by a cop. Like, apparently this kid, he had stolen from a store, and a cop tried to intervene, and I don't know if I used the word murdered correctly or not, but basically there's an altercation that happened, and this was like pre-Black Lives Matter. It was, you remember the Ferguson? They kind of did a little bit of rioting. You know, this cop killed this African American. You don't remember?
There's so many cops.
So I mean, yeah, it's probably rampant. I hate to get too political, but this happened at a time where there's a little bit of unrest, and I didn't think about it until I was there. So the one thing that I remember stood out to me was I saw a sign that said Ferguson, Missouri, and I'm like, whoa, where have I heard that before? Oh shit, this is like the heart of like where everything was happening. I would like where I was at, you wouldn't have known anything was happening. But the one thing I remember that stood out to me that kind of sketched me out, well, one, I eventually got off the subway system, and then I got to this bus route system. So I was going to get on a bus. But while I was sitting at the bus route, this guy just openly pulls out a pipe and starts smoking crack next to me. So I'm like, this isn't good. It's just me and him. And I'm like, I don't feel like sitting here while this guy's smoking crack. This is not my scene. I got to get out of here. This isn't right. So I quickly kind of nonchalantly stand up, walk across the street, and my next option was like, I'm just going to get on a phone. I'm going to get on the phone, find a cab. Just get me the cab, get me right to where I need to be. And as I'm sitting there waiting for a cab, what exactly? There was like a bunch of kids. I remember seeing dirt bikes ripping up and down the street. That was another thing that I remember. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was definitely out of place from where I was at. And that's pretty much the end of the story. Nothing too serious. I didn't see any riding, but it was definitely like one of those adventures that I'll never forget. It was definitely like
A lesson learned.
a lesson learned. Definitely fly, because literally the airport and where I needed to pick up the car was right there. And I took a bus, took forever, got downtown, wanted to do a little bit, and I was like, screw this, get me out, I need to get out there.
Trains,
Run up
planes,
all,
and
yeah,
automobiles.
literally trains, planes, and automobiled myself, trying to get my car picked up from being shipped across overseas. And I'm just like, man, it was literally one thing after another.
At least
and it really wasn't.
Neil had a buddy.
Yeah, I had nobody. I was just myself. So, I mean, it was just like...
Lesson learned. At least
It
take
was-
someone with you next time.
It was one of those adventures that I'll never forget, but I definitely don't want to relive that story. I don't know. Nothing too crazy, but I don't know. Fun nonetheless.
What do you want to think is... Does Neil Page and Dell want to relive their story?
Yeah,
They could almost do a second one
they could.
and have Steve Martin still come back, and then Dell has a son or something out of nowhere or something.
Yeah,
So they could do a second
they
one.
could do like a Ghostbusters Afterlife, something or another. Get another crew set up. I don't know. I think they could do. Who would you? So if you want to do a remake, and honestly, I'm gonna say right now, not a huge fan of remakes, but I do enjoy them at a time. I don't know. I'm a sucker for remakes. I'm probably the reason why people like me are the reason why they still make remakes. But regardless, who do you think would play in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles 2?
Are you talking about a remake or just
A
doing a
remake.
sequel? If they do
Okay,
it-
sequel. I don't know. Do you
'Cause
think?
remake
I
is
think
different.
I think a remake, but like a total remake.
Because Afterlife is a sequel.
Okay, yeah. I'm just
So
saying.
like, and then Answer
Okay.
Calls a remake. That's why.
Sorry, I don't want to get too much into the weeds on that, but remake. Just doing a remake. Doing it
So,
over again.
brand
A
new.
modern day Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
It'd be kind of tough.
Yeah, I should have prefaced you with that question. That was kind of tough to talk about.
I would have to look at some actors.
Do you think, like comedians? I think a comedian would have to play this role. Not necessarily,
well,
but...
both are comedians.
Yeah.
Like John Candy's character, I can see.
Do you think a Steve Martin would play again? I don't know if he would want to. Like the role, the charisma, the relationship that
see
he probably
him-
had with John Candy, he probably wouldn't do it again.
I don't think he would do this again, but he could still be in the next movie. Like he could be the father of the next generation or something. Just have like a brief, recognition of this is Neil Page, and then his son's the one that ends up with the journey or something.
Yeah.
And then
I would want to do some thinking on how they would play the story, because they did a good job. They're just like a big city to big city, trouble getting from one place to the other.
Well, Neil has 3 kids, so he has that younger daughter. What did he have? He almost had like a baby. I don't know if it was a boy or girl. His younger daughter and then his older
Yeah,
son.
you're saying like Neil Page's family
Yeah,
could
so-
play the next
so
role, like a
even his
You're saying
son
like a
or
sequel.
his daughter. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, even the remake, you have Steve come back as somebody.
Who are some good actors that would... Come on, anybody out there? Fill us in.
Well, like,
Anybody
I know-
got
well-
any good...
well, Chris Pratt's kind of a comedian, and he's like a good actor.
I think Chris Pratt would be...
He was funny in
I
Parks and Rec.
think he's too high profile.
You think
right
he's too
now.
high profile now?
Yeah, well, just like I don't think he would be one to take the film. I think he would be a good actor in the film, but I think he has he's too big of an actor to play a
Yeah.
role like that.
You mean nowadays? Probably.
Yeah, like a remake of a classic like this. I don't know. I think it's above him.
I mean, but there's a lot of people that. I mean, look at Tom Hanks. He went from playing Castaway, Forrest Gump.
Honestly,
And now
now
he's
that you say
playing
Tom Hanks,
Pinocchio.
I could see Tom Hanks, Planes, Trains, and
Oh
Automobiles too.
God, I don't think I could.
You don't think you could see Tom Hanks do it?
No. I don't think-
Okay, here's one for you. Jim Carrey.
Oh God, no.
I don't think so either. Honestly, I don't think he's too over the top for something
It
like
would
this.
be over the top.
Like,
It'd be like the Liar Liar though. I mean,
yeah,
he
maybe
could.
it would almost be like a sequel
I
to
can see
Liar
more.
Liar.
I can see more Jim Carrey than I could Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
I agree. What about a Tim Allen?
No,
No?
Tim Allen's too old too now.
Yeah, you're probably right. But
We gotta think
Steve
younger.
Martin, he's got some white hair, man. He's pretty old in this film. I mean, how old is Steve Martin?
He's
look
like
it
in
up.
his 80s probably now.
You think so?
Yeah, he's like 80s. He's easily in his 80s.
I'm not saying you're wrong. 77.
77. Okay,
Wow.
that's close.
Wow. Wow, I didn't realize he was that old.
Yeah, he's pretty old.
Born in Waco, Texas.
But I mean, he looks the same now than he did in that movie.
Yeah, that's where
I
I'm
mean-
kind of like, he doesn't age. I mean, he does a good
He
job
doesn't
of
look like he
keeping his
really
Hollywood
ages.
figure.
What's
Let's
the,
go through some of the films.
what was the kid's name in Superbad that played the bigger kid? What's his
Jonah
name?
Hill.
Jonah Hill.
You think
Maybe?
Jonah Hill would be a
like
a John Candy character? I could maybe see that. I want to see some of the films. So
And then Steve Martin's
Steve
character.
Martin, he's got a hell of a list.
Oh,
Planes,
yeah,
Trains,
he's-
and Automobiles. That same year he did Roxanne.
That's-
I honestly don't know hardly any
Roxanne
of his
is he plays as like that long nosed poet person. It's a play.
Is it more of a serious role?
I wouldn't say really serious, but it's supposed to be more like Hamlet and stuff.
Cheaper by the Dozen. That's pretty famous for that.
I mean, for the most part, he does pretty. He's always the comedian.
Father
type.
of the Bride is another one.
Yeah, Father of the Bride. He
You
was
know,
like
part
number-
1, 2, and 3 apparently.
Yeah, the first one he was more serious than that one.
Jeez, there's a huge stretch of time between those.
Father of the Bride and Father of the Bride 2.
Yeah.
I feel like Jonah Hill would be a good like John Candy. Who would be a good Steve Martin? Who looks more business?
Well, I don't think you have to go through the Steve Martin, like that rich businessman trying to travel character. I think you could probably do some other characters. But I think maybe to some degree you have to have some kind of smugness to the character.
Yeah, you need
because
at least a smug person, and you
somebody
need, like,
who's kind of really well off, who kind of goes through kind of these drama-induced parts. Because you want to keep that happy ending of like, okay, yeah, I really do care for this character. Yeah, I don't really know. You think maybe like this is kind of a weird one. You can say no to this one.
like the other ones.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I can see him doing that.
Yeah, he plays a lot of like rich characters.
characters.
You know, I think maybe he'd do a good job.
But I feel like he'd be too top class to do this.
I think so too. I think he's like that Chris Pratt level. Like you're
He'd
too
be-
too good for this
I
film.
mean, he might.
Dude, like,
I feel like he's more willing to do it than Chris Pratt.
I think a good this
Maybe.
to me is like a good up and coming actor role. I don't know. It doesn't have to be, but I don't know.
There's a lot of movies out there. I feel like you can get newer people.
When did he play Bringing Down the House? I want to figure that out.
Probably early 2000s.
Yep, 2001 or 2003. He did 3 films in 2003: Cheaper by the Dozen, Bringing Down the House, and Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Oh yeah, he was the evil dude.
Mr. Chairman.
Yep, he was Brandon Fraser's nemesis, or the cartoons. He worked at Acme. Remember all the Acme things?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, he was the CEO, I think, or something like that.
Let me go. One sec. I just want to check something out here. How long does it say we've been doing this? Like, what I have here. I am such a noob at this. I don't have any timeline of like where we're at in this thing. All right, 55 minutes. I think we're good. Like that's a good stretch of time for talking about planes, trains, and automobiles. I think going forward though, we're probably just gonna do this one movie format. I don't know if it'd be better to just announce what we're doing, and then so other people can join in and kind of maybe watch it and maybe chime in. Because we've just kind of been like off on our own, and maybe somebody might want to watch it. And I think announcing and then
I've been trying to announce better. Maybe do it before the day of or something.
or even just like if we could line up a week ahead, like next week we're gonna do blah 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 whatever, and
Which we
then
have to figure out now.
other people could if we could do some like common streaming movies. Something you could watch for free somehow, or maybe Netflix or whatever kind of streaming you have.
Yeah,
maybe
I don't
there's
have
one
Netflix.
Well, I got a password I can let you borrow, if need be. Okay,
Yeah.
don't tell Netflix. I got a password you can borrow.
That's why they're locking down. That's why they're starting making.
Yeah, they're gonna start limiting that. I don't think it's gonna get them very far. I think people would drop off in droves if they did
that'd be
that.
stupid.
That's a stupid move. They know people are in it because of that. Maybe people do it because they can split. You know what I mean? It makes it that much cheaper.
I mean, how can you really split anyways?
Because I think you can. I think you can only do two at the same time. So you can have two people doing one account at the same time. But anything more than that, it'll it'll let you do it. But anything more than that, it'll say it's streaming from here and here. So you got to wait till one of those guys. Let's say you give your password to like 10 people, and you're like, God damn it, I'm never gonna get. And then okay, change my password. I got too many people.
Sounds like World of Warcraft when I let someone borrow it. Nudge, nudge, hint, hint, and then freaking they end up had to never got that account back.
That sucks. You couldn't even.
No.
Somebody stole it.
Yep, and you know.
I don't remember.
Maybe I should wait until.
Yeah, wait till we're done, then you can tell me.
Yeah. It's not a big deal anyway. I don't play World of Warcraft.
Nobody does anymore.
Except for noobs.
Well, I think it will end it there, and maybe get into social media more and announce what we have.
I feel like when I did do even that day when I announced that we were to do 3 movies, even prior just before the thing it was we got Daniel.
Yeah.
You know, got more involved. So maybe going like a week in advance, maybe we'll get more people. I mean, I tell them all the time we're at live Tuesdays at 8:00. So I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, it can't hurt.
Yeah, it won't hurt. And literally, even if we had 1 or 2 other people to chime in, I don't know. And maybe this isn't a really good format to be doing anyway. It's. I like the live stream aspect because then you can interact with more people at one time. But maybe that's, maybe going to somewhere specifically to talk about movies is more productive. I just think this is like if you have a wide enough audience willing to talk about it, then
I feel like Facebook Live would be better though.
You think so?
Yeah.
See, I don't know. Maybe. So Facebook to me is more of social. It's social, but Facebook is more of your immediate friends and family.
I know, but you can still have.
So you're basically trying to guilt your friends and family to be like, hey, you want to talk about some movies that I want to talk about? Whereas I think these wider scale, like Twitch and YouTube, in my opinion, if you're gonna watch a movie critic talking show or whatever, you're gonna seek out that. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna seek it out. You're gonna want to talk about a movie. Maybe
I know, but I have more friends. I have more people that I can talk to on Facebook that I can do on Instagram, TikTok, or Twitch.
That may be true, but Yeah.
It-
I mean,
it
not saying your
spreads-
friends wouldn't want to do that, but maybe you're like guilting your friends and family into more of like, hey, follow me so you can just pad my stats on talking about movies. I don't know. That's a definite option. I don't know if it would decrease or increase, and I don't know how they regulate who gets where on the page. You know what I mean? You have to start somewhere. You kind of have to do your own groundwork to begin with.
Well, Facebook, it's retarded. It's just getting bad now. Because once you follow somebody, and then you follow someone else, and then you follow someone else, and then and it bumps the first person you were following in the first place down.
Yeah,
Like.
and it's
Unless
hard.
you somehow favorite them or they have
Sure,
new
sure.
options
Or
now, but
the big thing on YouTube is you hit the bell and it'll send you a push notification to say so and so downloaded. They're starting a live stream. They put a new video up.
I mean Facebook
blah,
does
blah,
that
blah.
too. But what I'm saying though is if you get so many notifications, even on on YouTube, if you get so many subscriptions, you're
they're slapped down to the bottom.
the one
Yeah.
that you want on top is going to be still unless
Yeah.
you unfollow it and then re-like it again.
Yeah. Well, first we need an audience.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying though. Yeah, first of all, we need
But
an
it
audience.
start from somewhere. So I don't know.
I still feel like we're still fresh.
I think this is a good learning experience. You know, maybe this doesn't go anywhere, but I think it'll be enjoyable nonetheless. I enjoy
I
it.
find it enjoyable.
I do too. I don't know. It's kind of fun talking about
can hang
movies.
out.
Yeah.
Talk about movies.
And scream to nothing in the world. Scream into nothing.
Unless Daniel joins us again.
Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to call her a day. So, hope everyone enjoyed this.
Keep it